Hello everyone. Once again, we have an Expanse model to unbox. So without further ado, let's get started. Try to get this flap open without knocking over the camera setup. Very well packed. Good job, Master Replicas. Good to see that this is not just a one-off experience. This is something I personally like, but whenever you open the box and the model that you're opening is upside down, it just adds a little bit more anticipation. Drop in the comment section below. Tell me if you think that it's kind of a cool moment when this happens, or if I'm just out to lunch on this. All right. Behold the Koto. Or let's do some other housekeeping first. Get this out of the way, as it looks like there's nothing else in the cardboard, so we will just whisk this away. There it is. The Koto, otherwise known as the Scipio Africanus, the ship of two names. 3, if we count it as the Morgan class. So, this is one of the lesser known ships in the Expanse TV series. Although, like the characters, this ship has a character arc itself. But before we get into all that, let's get this label off, huh? See if we can just peel this off without needing to cut it. Let's cut it. I'm impatient. I'm not gonna open this all, elegant like, right? Oof. Well, that sound you're hearing are all the box preservationist people signing off of the video. Hope they're not too displeased at that. All right. Open this up. All right. So this is not quite as thrilling of an opening experience as you would get with the 12-inch Rocinante XL, but gets the job done. We have the Morgan class Scipio Africanus, or the Koto. The box off to the side for a moment. Shut my yak and just let you all take a look at this. One of the neat things that I like about the Morgan class patrol destroyers from the Expanse is how it has this asymmetrical but not asymmetrical look, right? As I understand it, this is the airlock door, so that's why there isn't a point defense cannon or PDC on the bottom. So, as I understand it also, essentially this is the normal, right, front position, front of the ship's here. Get a look at that front profile there, it's pretty cool. Got your torpedo launchers and tape beam antenna there. Those of you who have seen my aircraft model reviews will know this about me, but I am a sucker for a worn piece of kit. All right, now I personally am a fan of manufacturers not building that into their models, and for airplanes I'll generally go with that, but in this case the weathering is part of the story of the ship, because the Scipio Africanus has changed names a few times in the legacy of the Expanse story. So it's a telling comment that the ship has a character arc just as much as the people do. So this was originally a MCRN patrol destroyer. You see the little MCRN logo there, and 276 ship number. This was originally used as a patrol ship. Its job was to embark from larger vessels like the Doniger class battleship that you see at the start, and it would leave that vessel and go about patrols in the belt, interdicting belter shipping traffic, and we see one of these do exactly that in a season 1 episode. Correct me in the comment section, but there is a episode in season 1 where one of these interdicts the Rocinante, which would have been a bit awkward because at that time Mars had a little bit of an issue with James Holden's crew's possession of the ship. So Alex, the pilot, does something pretty clever to defuse the situation without shots fired. You'll have to watch the episode to know more, but the Morgans come about again in later in the series when this ship, the Scipio Africanus, intercepts a belter rock hopper with a bad transponder. Apparently this is a matter of important legality to the Martians, which is what MCRN stands for, Martian Congressional Republic Navy. They didn't like the fact that this particular belter skiff had an issue with their transponder, so they stopped them, boarded the ship, and basically taxed them so bad that the owner of the ship could not make any money on the payload. So he kicked out his nephew, and the nephew in question was, of course, the character of Diogo. And he used his rock hopper to sling rocks against the ship, which responded by firing a torpedo out of one of these ports. Belter ship that's unarmed versus Morgan class patrol destroyer. We all know how that conversation / fight would go, and the belter ship was destroyed. And then this ship, which was the Scipio Africanus at the time and conducted the actual boarding, would then make an appearance later in the Free Navy, and this time under the name Koto. Let me know in the comments what the Koto means in Belter. I'm sure there's a meaning to it. Either there's a Belter meaning, or maybe it ties into Alexander the Great in some way, like the home city of Alexander being Pella, and that being the name of Marco Inaros' flagship, but I'm not entirely sure what the relationship with the Koto is, so tell me where that comes from in the comments down below. So we see here, we have the old Scipio Africanus name, which is what the ship bore when it was in MCRN service. See the MCRN logo there. Under Free Navy control, illegally sold / given to them by the breakaway Martians, the former Scipio Africanus, aka the Koto, would engage the Rocinante in a task force action where the Rocinante damages this ship with its railgun. 2 shots with the railgun knocks the ship out of action, and that is the last we see of the former Scipio Africanus. The name Scipio Africanus comes from ancient Rome, where that is the name of the Roman general who defeated the Carthaginian counterpart Hannibal Barca. It's a pretty famous historical situation if you're familiar with ancient Rome and the history of it. So yeah, pretty appropriate for the Martians to name a patrol ship the Scipio Africanus. The Africanus comes about because the Roman general in question was named Scipio, and whenever a Roman general conquered an area or completed a military campaign successfully, the region that they had conquered or completed their campaign in would be added as a surname to their cognomen. I think I have that right. So then Scipio becomes Scipio Africanus because that's where he defeated Hannibal Barca. Thus the name. Love the little details here. It's actually really well executed. Again, I think we have a situation where the pictures really don't do this thing justice. The wear of the orange Martian paint and how that comes off to how the paint comes off and how it's very convincingly done. The elegance of how the wear is done very convincingly. It's not haphazard. It's not like half thought out, or there's too much in one area or none in another. It's done really convincingly, and you can really, looking at this in person, it really does look like a ship that has been in the patrol business for a long time, and it's basically on the verge of just getting scrapped. So it's very convincing, and I like that. I like ships and aircraft and whatnot that look like they've actually been used instead of something that looks like it came out of a museum. There's a time and place for the factory fresh finish, but I think this the wear and tear and the scratch and dent has a place in the collection too. Really like that. We got the quote unquote bottom here with the airlock. Really cool. Bear in mind that the Morgan class ships like this are a bit smaller than the Rocinante's Corvette class. So when you park these next to each other, the Rocinante versus this is going to be smaller, and that's by design. Really like the detail in the back. Master Replicas could have easily cut corners back here, but they didn't, and this looks really nice over here. Shame they didn't make the PDCs detachable. Maybe that's a trick to put in the next run of these, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think for the money, $60 plus shipping, it's worth it. It's really well done, and the weathering and the wear, showing how the Scipio Africanus is worn off and kind of got that scratch and dent, old warhouse about to be put to the scrapyard kind of look. It's really nice, which of course explains how it got to be in the Belter Free Navy in the first place, right? Because a ship that is marked for demolition or decommissioning, however you want to put it, it's probably a lot easier to discreetly sell to a bunch of terrorists than something that's brand new, fresh off the factory floor. The MCRN quartermasters probably aren't going to care too much about a little patrol ship that's just past its prime. But yeah, pretty neat how they wrote even the ship has a character arc, going from the MCRN to flying under the flag of the people it oppressed. Kind of interesting how that plays out in the story. So let's set the Scipio Africanus off to the side. So we get the stand. This guy right here. I suspect this is gonna fit. Nope. I think it's supposed to fit something like that. Yep, it's supposed to sit something kind of like that. So you'll have the toe kind of in the front, with the ship facing like this. So we'll set that over here. Grab the base. Pretty solid. This is taped in place, so I'm gonna mess with this a little bit out of frame. Put the Scipio Africanus over here. Yes, I realize the box says it's called the Koto, but Scipio Africanus just has an old school ring to it to me. All right, I'm gonna mess with this a little bit off camera. Ignore the sound of plastic ripping, folks. All is in order. So we'll put that there. I think you can put this you can put it that way if you want to, as long as it's lateral. So there's a stand, pretty cool, solid, unmarked, classy. Set that on top. Ship around. Put it on top like so. And there it is. Pretty rad. Of course, I think you can, you can also display it with sitting on the drive cone if you want. Sitting like that, just upright. I have to hold it like this because, you know, otherwise it'll be out of frame. But you can set it right on the drive cone and it's not going to harm anything. As I understand it, these things only take 6 people and sometimes only 2. So yeah, pretty small ship. Smaller even than the Rossi. But yeah, rather cool. Happen to like the styling of this one. It's very like purposeful and multi-angular, but still a little bit of elegance to it. Like some Martian engineer was like, you know, we're just making something that's gonna collect taxes and hand out tickets, but it's still gonna look a little pretty. I like that about it. Some more gratuitously unnecessary video footage. Air National Guard saying hello. All right, I think we'll wrap festivities here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you very much for your patronage of my channel. It is definitely appreciated. If you like my reviews and content, consider subscribing so you'll be notified when I post my next video. Catch you all in the next one.